So you can lay on your back however is comfortable, and feel free to shift around a little bit to start. So your legs can be bent with the soles of the feet on the ground. They can be reaching long on your mat if that feels better, maybe even hugged into your chest. You're starting to feel settled in your body, in your space. And then as you feel ready, let's meet with the soles of the feet on the mat as wide as the mat, and let the knees fall in toward each other. As you do this, feeling your lower back come flat against the mat, maybe placing the hands on the belly if that feels better to have just some extra guidance, pressing the lower back into the mat. Notice your inhales. As you inhale, feel the spine lengthening from the tailbone through the back of the neck. Feel the body pressing into the mat as you inhale, and feel yourself softening as you exhale. Soften the forehead. Relax the cheeks. Relax the eyelids. Just allow the eyes to be softly closed. Relax the jaw and the neck and the shoulders. And arrive here on your mat. And you can notice right away any activity in the mind. Noticing if the mind is wanting to wander to the past or to the future. Maybe to to-do lists. And as you notice those thoughts, remind yourself to come back to the body, to come back to the breath. You can feel the belly expanding into your hands on your inhales and into the floor equally. Feeling the entire space of your torso expanding like a balloon with each inhale. Notice how you're feeling. Scanning the body. Noticing any areas that are particularly loud. Maybe they're sore, maybe they're tight. Notice your heartbeat. Now start to send your next 3 breaths into the heart center. And feel your heart energizing and expanding with each inhale. And letting go of things you don't need on your exhales. Feeling it escape through the back of the heart. And taking one more big breath like this. And then your next breath, make it audible. So inhaling as big as you need, as big as you can. Maybe you sigh it out or just let it all out. Now start to let your breath become natural. As you start to take some windshield wipers with the knees, adding in some movements, the arms can rest wherever they're comfortable. And we'll be moving rather slowly throughout practice today, even in the vinyasa portion of the class. And I encourage you to be extra mindful today about what areas in your body need some more attention and what areas in your mind need some more attention. Maybe activating your ujjayi breath if that feels good, creating that slight constriction in the back of your throat, storing more of the energy within the body. And you can begin to guide your knees back to center and hug your right knee into the chest and extend your left leg long on the mat, letting the foot rest. And we'll start right away with just a few knee circles, but if there's any movements that are calling to you right away, go ahead and take those. Throughout the class, if we're ever in a pose that becomes painful, just come right out of it. Or if we're ever in a pose and your body's calling for a certain movement to take, just let your body take the movements it needs to take. You can go both directions with your knees if you're doing the circles, making sure you switch directions, and just really noticing the socket, noticing the hip moving within or the leg moving within the hip socket. Noticing any creaks. And then you can bring the sole of your right foot to face up toward the ceiling and come into your half happy baby. So you can grab the outside edge of the foot or the big toes with your peace fingers, and just opening up your hips. So drawing your right knee closer to the right armpit, closer to the floor. Awesome. You can place your left hand on your left hip, so just reminding that hip to stay grounded. And if you feel that pop up, you can adjust your right leg to a place where both hips can stay on the floor. And paying attention, still feeling your lower back flat against the floor, making sure that's supported. And same thing over here as with the hip circles. If you feel like taking some movements here, go ahead and take those, maybe playing around with straightening out the leg a bit or bending it more, or just sitting in stillness if that feels better. This is your opportunity to just check in with the joints, noticing how you're starting your practice. Now start to guide your knee back to center and extend your legs straight. So you can grab the backs of your right thigh, and reach through the heel of the foot, feeling the back of the knee be bright. And no need to really stress the hamstring at all. You can grab as low on the thigh as you need to. And now we'll just start to bring your leg toward the left side of your room, so coming across the body. And just see how far you can go, keeping your right hip on the ground. So it's not going to move too far. Yeah. And you should just feel a really nice stretch down the IT band, the outside of your right leg. And then you can start to guide it to center and bring it off to the right. So feeling that stretch a little bit more on the inside of the foot. And just moving a few times back and forth like this. But being mindful to keep the low back and the hips grounded and stable. So the movement's not going to be super big. You can just trust your body here. So it's not pushing yourself too far. We're just warming up right now. Notice how this feels in the hip and the hamstring. And linger in places it feels extra good. And then start to guide your leg back to center. Bring the sole of your right foot to the ground. And then hug your left knee into the chest. We'll do that on the other side. You can extend your right leg long on the mat as you feel ready. And just go ahead with those knee circles on this side. You can rotate in both directions, switching whenever it feels right to. Not forgetting the breath here. You can link your movements with your breath. Noticing how this side feels compared to your right side. And taking a few more circles. And then as you're ready, we'll come into the half happy baby. So you can turn the sole of your foot to face toward the ceiling and start to draw your left knee closer to the left armpit, opening up your left hip. And again, you can place your right hand on the right hip, just to remind that to stay grounded. And just playing around with where your focus is shifting to. So maybe you're focusing mostly on the hip for some time and really opening that up deeper, or exploring the different sensations there. And then maybe you shift that to the lower back, to the hips, grounded against the mat. Keeping the forehead relaxed, keeping the jaw soft. A few more breaths. And you can begin to guide your knee back to center. And just extend your leg up toward the ceiling, keeping the foot pretty flexed. And grabbing wherever on the thigh or the leg is natural, the least straining for the body. And still feeling the lower back flat against the mat, feeling the leg super straight. And then just guiding that really gently over across the body to the right side of the mat. Just as much as your hip can stay grounded, and just going back and forth, just as we did on the other side. I'm starting to wake up the hips, the hamstrings. And again, just noticing how this side feels compared to the other. And the slower you move, the more things you can notice. And sometimes moving slowly is more challenging. A few more breaths doing this. And then guiding the knee back to center. This time we'll bring the right leg up to meet the left, and just reaching both feet up to the sky. Just take some circles with the ankles. You can hold them with the hands or just let them hang out there. Maybe you shake out the legs, just do whatever feels good here. Getting into the feet, the toes, the ankles. Again, when you're ready, you can grab the backs of the thighs and just start to rock along the length of your spine. You can massage yourself for a little bit here, but eventually coming up to your seat, no rush. And then when you do come onto the seat, you can cross the ankles, roll over them, and come into your tabletop position. Just seeing shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And you can start right away with some cat-cows. That feels good. And just noticing where you naturally want to originate your movement from. So some people tend to move from the hips starting first. So you might feel your pelvic floor more tilting forward and back. Or maybe you feel this movement more from the shoulders and the chest area. And see if you can really disperse where the movement's originating from. So feeling the wave moving up and down the spine, maybe closing the eyes to tune in even deeper to that sensation. And keeping the side bodies really long. So in both cat and cow, feeling the space between the bottom of the ribs and the hips getting as long as possible. So creating a lot of space for the organs and the belly. Maybe taking any free movements that you'd like to take. So you could roll out the shoulders, maybe the neck, maybe the hips. An option to take some really big circles with the hips, going one direction and then the other. That can be super nice. Just moving with your own breath, however feels good. For 5 more rounds of breath. Letting them be big and long breaths. And then when you're ready, we'll meet back in a neutral tabletop. So just feel the spine be really straight for a moment here. Feel the tailbone reaching away from the tops of the ears, feeling the back of the neck long, lifting the back of the heart, lifting the navel. And then on your next exhale, sit back into your child's pose. Just letting the hips be heavy, sitting on the heels. And you can keep the knees neutral from where they were in your tabletop because we'll be coming back up. On your next inhale, find some more length in the spine. So find some more space in the mid-body. And then as you exhale, curl the spine into a cat spine and pull yourself up into your cat pose. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze to cow pose. And then exhale, curl the spine as you sit back to your child's pose. Inhale to prepare here. And then exhale, pull yourself up, cat pose. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, cow pose. And then exhale, curl the spine as you sit back to child's pose. Inhale here. And then exhale, come forward into your cat pose. Inhale to cow. Exhale, curl the spine, sitting back, child's pose. And do that twice more. Inhale to prepare. And exhale, pull yourself up, cat pose. Inhale to cow. Exhale, curl the spine, sit the hips back, child's pose. Last time, inhaling to prepare and lengthen. And exhale, draw yourself forward, cat pose. Inhale to cow. And exhale, curl the spine, sit the hips back. We'll pause for 2 breaths here. Maybe just rocking your head side to side, massaging the third eye. And then just start to walk your hands over to the right side. So bringing the torso to lay over your right thigh. Maybe crossing your left hand on top of the right. Just taking this little side variation in child's pose. Feeling that space from the left hand through the left hip, keeping that rooted down. Another breath here. Inhale, you can walk the hands back to center. And then we'll take that to the other side, walking the hands to the left so the torso rests more on the left thigh, crossing right hand over left. Inhaling, feeling that length from the right hand through the right hip. And coming back to center. Rooting the hands down, feeling as if you could draw the floor toward the knees, pulling yourself back up to your table. And then we'll just reach the right arm forward. So you feel the right side of the body get really long. And then just start to thread the needle, bringing the right hand underneath your left arm, bringing the right ear, right shoulder to the ground. And taking whatever variation feels best for you here. You can stay with the hand here, pushing into that hand, maybe turning your gaze to face closer toward the ceiling. Trying to curl your heart open toward the ceiling. Maybe extending the left arm forward, getting that body long, or maybe reaching it back behind you. Another breath here. And then just reaching into the left hand, putting that back on the mat, bringing yourself back up to your tabletop. Just feeling the difference in the shoulders. And I'll do that on the other side. So you can inhale, reach your left arm forward, just feeling that body getting long, coming into it in a little different way than usual. And then threading the needle as you're ready. Left arm under right, and taking whatever variation you took on the other side. And taking another big breath here. And then you can start to bring the right hand back down if it's left. And bring yourself back up to your neutral tabletop position. And walk the hands forward about a hand's distance. Tuck your toes under and lift the sit bones back and up to your downward facing dog. And keep the knees as bent as they need to be in this down dog. Focusing on lifting the hips as high as you can. Broadening the entire spine, so feeling the upper back be as wide as possible along with the lower back. And feeling that space, creating more space in between each vertebrae in the spine. You can feel free to keep the knees bent the entire time in your down dog. Just really listen to your body. If you ever get to a point in any pose where you feel any sense of pinching or pain, just come back to a place of comfort. Even if you could access that pose even yesterday, just listen to where your body's at today. Honor that. And just a few more breaths in your down dog. And you can begin to slowly walk your feet up to meet your hands. So you just move an inch at a time, no rush at all. And then as you arrive at the top of your mat, you can generously bend the knees. And just allow the entire length of the spine to lengthen and be heavy. Feeling the space from your tailbone through the low, middle, upper back, and the crown of the head. Breathing into wherever you're feeling this the most. Even though the knees are bent, just feeling the sit bones lift a little higher, feeling the weight shift toward the balls of the feet. Relax the jaw, relax the forehead and the neck. 2 more breaths. On your next inhale, you can rise to a halfway lift, just feeling the spine nice and straight and long. And bring your hands up to your hips, and with a flat back, rise up to stand. Exhale, release your hands by your side to your mountain pose. Allow the blood to settle. Allow the face to soften. Soles of the feet to root down as the crown of the head reaches up. And just feel your head over your heart, over the hips, over the heels. Connected down to the earth and up to the heavens. And on your next inhale, sweep both arms up. And then exhale, forward fold with a flat back coming down and curling as you need to. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale and release. Plant your hands down, step back to your plank position. We'll move through one vinyasa flow of your choice. So you can just lower all the way down to the ground. Inhale to lift your heart, baby cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, push yourself up through a table. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, down dog. On your next inhale, raise your right leg back and up, just keeping the hips square for now. And then exhale, bend the knee into the chest and step your right foot outside of your right hand to the right edge of the mat. Coming into this wide lunge, this lizard pose. You're keeping the back leg lifted this time. Just feeling, breathing into the hips, feeling how this feels, keeping both legs, both feet, the balls of both feet really strong, moving into the mat. Drawing your heart forward just a touch. Then on your next exhale, you can raise your right arm out and up, coming into a twist here. Each inhale, feel the crown of the head reach forward. And each exhale, open the heart toward the ceiling. We'll take 3 more breaths, inhaling, finding more length in the spine, feeling the legs strong. And each exhale, twisting a little deeper. And then exhale, you can circle your right arm back down to meet the left. And just step your right foot back to a plank. Move through a vinyasa and we'll meet in a down dog. Beautiful. We'll do that on the other side whenever you're ready. You can inhale your left leg back and up, just keeping the hips square. And then exhale, bend the knee in toward the chest and step the left foot outside of the left hand. Coming into this wide lunge, this lizard pose on the other side. And shifting yourself around to find that comfortable position. Keeping the balls of both feet really actively reaching into the mat. And the inner thighs magnetically drawing in toward each other, feeling that slight lift in the hips. And at the same time, drawing your heart forward. And you can start to shift your weight into your right hand as you exhale, you can twist, lifting the left arm up toward the sky. Awesome. And your inhales, feel the crown of your head reach forward. Feel the spine get long. And as you exhale, heart peeks open toward the ceiling, just a touch. Let's take 2 more breaths like this. Inhaling, feeling length in the spine. Exhaling, twisting deeper. And then next exhale, you can circle the arm forward, bringing the left hand and meet the right. Then step your left toes back to a plank. Move through a flow if you'd like. We'll meet in a down dog. And bend the knees, look up toward the top of your mat and step up to meet your hands. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, reaching all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Pause here and check in. Check in with the heartbeat. Check in with the breath. Relax the face, the shoulders. Move through one more like little flow on either side, and then we'll come into the yin portion. On your next inhale, reach both arms up. And exhale, dive forward, forward fold. This time we're just going to heel toe the right foot to the right edge of the mat. Plant the hands down and step your left foot back into that lizard pose, the wide lunge. Awesome. So you know how this feels now, so you can notice if it feels a little different the second time around. And just checking in with the feet, letting the feet be active. And as you're ready, shift your weight into your left hand and raise your right arm up, coming into that twist once again. Inhaling, reaching through the crown of the head, exhaling to twist. Inhale here. And then exhale, release your right hand down. And so just straighten out your right leg and walk your hands towards your left, bringing the feet parallel to each other and meeting in this wide leg forward fold. Shifting the weight toward the balls of the feet, lifting the sit bones a little higher, letting the head be heavy, relaxing the face. The knees can be bent as much as they feel they need to be bent. If you want to get deeper into the legs, you can bring the feet closer together. If you want to ease off a bit, bring them further apart. We're just taking 2 more full breaths here. Your next inhale, rise up to a flat back. So coming onto your fingertips, walking them in front of the shoulders. Beautiful. And then just start to walk your hands toward your left foot, turning your toes out to face the back of your mat and lifting your back heel. So we're coming into that lizard pose on the left side, facing the back of your mat. So you can feel both hands inside the left foot. Check in with your lizard pose on this side. Feel both feet strong. Feel the heart reach forward. Feel the back knee lifting up toward the ceiling. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, shift the weight into your right hand. Exhale, lift your left arm up. Inhaling to lengthen the spine and exhaling to curl the heart toward the ceiling. One more just like that. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to release your left hand and meet your right. Begin to lift your sit bones, straightening out your left leg and walk the hands back into your wide leg forward fold, bringing the feet this time, instead of parallel, they'll face about 45 degrees without facing the corners of your mat. Just noticing how this feels. You can start to create some movement here. So put a bend in each leg. And again, just moving gently, moving slowly, noticing how this feels. And then you can bring your hands back in front of the shoulders so you have a flat back. And then plant your right hand down and just lift your left arm up. So twisting from the upper back, noticing if the hips become uneven, they look good, but just being mindful to square your hips to the floor. Perfect. Inhale to again reach through the crown of the head and exhale to twist. Once more, feeling your sit bones and the crown of your head reaching in the opposite directions. And then exhaling to twist. Now release your left arm. We'll do that on the other side. Your next exhale, you can reach your right arm up to the ceiling. And twisting on the other side. So again, really focusing on feeling the sit bone or your tailbone pointing and actively reaching in the opposite direction as the crown of your head. So feeling that nice length from in your entire torso. Beautiful. And then you can exhale and release that hand back down. And start to walk your hands back toward your right foot, turning the toes to face the front of your mat. And just step your back foot or your left foot up to meet your right in a forward fold. Hang out here for just 2 breaths. Just really let the full weight of your torso just rest here. And then slowly as you're ready, you can start to rise up to stand. Maybe reach the arms up at the top, maybe a slight back bend. And then bring the hands to heart center as you exhale. Just checking back in, noticing how this first half of class felt in your body. Noticing anything that's coming up, anything that wants some attention. Just making notes and coming back to the body and the breath and the heartbeat. And now step your feet as wide as your mat with the toes pointing out. We're going to come into our malasana or yogi squat. So keeping the hands at heart center. You can hinge at the hips and bend at the knees, bringing elbows inside of the knees, and then sitting the hips down as you lift the heart and head up. Perfect. Just feeling the pressure of your hands pushing into each other. Open up the knees a bit wider. And bringing your wrists down to the same plane as your elbows. Bring them down to your heart center, lifting the heart. Perfect. Feeling the tailbone actively reach down, crown of the head actively reaches up. Beautiful. And then slowly, you can point your fingertips forward and allow your sit bones to sit down and reach the legs long. Shake them out, maybe pat them down. And we'll come into the yin portion of the class. So if you have any pillows or blankets that you want to use, feel free to grab them. But when you're ready, we'll come into our butterfly pose. So it can be about middle distance. They don't have to be in super tight to your hips. It can be a bit further away. And when you're ready, you can just allow yourself to gently fold. So there's no need to pull yourself anywhere in this pose. The feet can open like a book if that's what they naturally do. The soles of the feet can be touching if that's what they naturally do. And if you feel any pinching sensations or anything uncomfortable in the hips, you can always bring stuff underneath your knees to support them, like these blocks or using your hands even. And if at any point in this pose you feel actual pain, just please come out of this. It goes for everything in yoga, but particularly in yin. You don't want to be holding something for 3 minutes if you're feeling any sense of pain. Just finding that place of slight discomfort and bringing in some peace there, bringing in some breath, some understanding, some sense of surrender. And relaxing the forehead, the lips, and the jaw. Feel the length of the spine from your tailbone, the lower back, middle, upper back, and the neck as well. Feel the whole spine surrender to this pose. Feel some more space in the vertebrae. You can begin to walk your hands over toward your left thigh. So bringing the torso to now do the same sort of fold, but just focusing on the left thigh and noticing if your right hip wants to pop up. And coming to a place where both hips can stay grounded. So notice how this changes the pose. Notice how this feels in all points of your back, your belly. And feeling this really gentle twist in the torso, in the belly. So seeing that your hips are staying squared in front of you, and now your shoulders are about 45 degrees to your left. And feeling that twist coming from the navel. Letting your head surrender as much as it can. Feeling the neck lengthen, And letting that lengthen the rest of the spine. Notice how the pose is changing the longer we hold it. And take about 5 more breaths here on this side. And we'll just start to slowly walk your hands back towards center, moving really, really slowly. You're staying folded for now. And then coming over to your right thigh. And coming to a place where both hips can stay grounded. You can feel right away the difference. And let yourself settle in on this side. See how heavy you can let your head be. All the muscles on your face, just letting them hang off of the bones. Relaxing the shoulders. Doing this nice gentle twist in the belly. Taking about 5 more breaths here on this side. And what else you can surrender on your exhales. And then we'll just slowly walk the hands back to center first. Take one more really full exhale in the center, feeling the spine. Very slowly, as slowly as you came into this, you can start to straighten out the spine. Letting the head be last to arrive. Bring the knees into center, extend the legs long. Hands can come behind you as you lift your heart, just taking a nice counter in the spine. And then as you are ready, you can bend the knees, grab the backs of the thighs, and just slowly lower yourself back to our backs. And you can hug the knees into the chest as you arrive, or keep them on the floor and take windshield wipers, whatever your body's calling for. And we'll just take 2 more poses before our final resting pose. We're going to come into this different version of a reclined twist. And if it doesn't feel good, you can just go to your favorite version of your reclined twist. So we'll start by hugging the knees into the chest. And then you can cross your right thigh over your left thigh. So it's kind of like coming into eagle legs. You can even wrap the foot around the calf if that's good, but that's not necessary. And then bringing the arms out to a T shape, you can just let your knees fall over to the left. Yeah, so your legs are crossed and they're falling off to the left side of your mat. Both shoulders are staying as close to grounded as possible. You can just get to a little different place in the back when the legs are crossed like this, but if for any reason this feels bad in your body, you can just uncross them. If it feels good, then enjoy. Let your face be soft. And let your belly and shoulders be soft as well. You can turn your gaze over your right shoulder if you haven't already. You want to twist up the neck as well. And see how soft you can let your belly become. See how soft you can let your hips become. See how much you can surrender to gravity here. Surrender to this position that you're in. Letting this be a practice and metaphor for all of life, especially these days, just seeing how well we can surrender to our circumstances. Even if it's not the most comfortable, or if we're getting distracted or fidgeting or tensing up and resisting. Just practicing, letting those be opportunities to surrender even further. And discomfort is our friend. When we are faced with discomfort, that is the biggest opportunity to look at what's happening, to look at our reaction, and to consciously accept and soften, and to allow. Taking about 5 more breaths here. Seeing just how much you can soften. And very gently and slowly, you can guide your head to center and guide the knees back to center. Uncrossing the legs if you have them crossed. And doing whatever you need to reset. Maybe keeping the knees hugged in. That can feel good. And just feeling the lower back come flat against the mat. And when you're ready, we'll even ourselves out. You can guide the knees back up. And then cross your left leg over your right. Again, option to hook the foot around the calf, but not necessary at all. And then just allow your knees to fall to the right side of your mat. Maybe turning your gaze to look over your left shoulder. And once again, noticing straight away how this feels on this side compared to the other side. And let your belly be soft. And then let your belly be even softer. Let your hips relax. And then let your hips relax even more. Relax the forehead. Relax the forehead even more. And relax your jaw. And relax it even more. Let your shoulders be heavy into the mat. And then allow them to become even heavier. Once you think you've let go even more. And we'll take about 5 more full exhales on this side. Letting one more thing that doesn't serve you leave your body on each of your exhales. And then very gently guide the head to center and the knees to center. Again, you can take a few windshield wipers. You can hug the knees into the chest. Anything that your body's calling for, just to feel even and to reset. And when you're ready, we can reach both our legs and our arms up toward the ceiling. And just really feel the torso and the spine evening out. We did a lot of twisting today, a lot of things for the back and our bellies. So just feel all of that settling. Feel the full length of your spine from the tailbone through the back of the skull, flat against the mat. Soften the belly and allow all the organs to settle back into their home base. Feel that gentle pulsing of the belly as you do so. Feel the hands and feet getting warmer, tingly. Feeling that change of blood flow coming into the torso. Energizing and healing the body even more. When you're ready, you can come into your happy baby if you'd like, or come into your Shavasana right away. Maybe stopping in your reclined bound angle pose. Just taking your time getting into Shavasana or allowing yourself to rest if you feel ready. As you arrive, just feel yourself being supported. Feel truly how supported you are. Feeling on a deep level Now, there is no need to hold anything up right now. Release yourself into the earth, letting yourself be held, letting yourself be loved. Feeling the face relax and soften. The shoulders, the chest, ribs, and belly, all surrendering and expanding. Let your glutes melt into the mat as your pelvic floor completely releases. All the muscles in your legs letting go of the bones. And feeling both feet and all 10 toes. Feel both hands and all 10 fingers. Turning your gaze into the forehead. Feeling the pulsing sensation of your forehead and the very crown of your head. And allowing yourself to rest here. And if you feel called to stay here longer, please honor that and do so. And if you're feeling ready to come out of this pose, and just allow my cues to guide you. There's just noticing the breath. And then gradually deepening the breath. Filling up the entire body with each inhale. Energizing yourself a little bit more. Adding some small movements into the fingers, toes, the hands, and the feet. Maybe rocking the head side to side. And taking a nice morning stretch when you're ready. And bringing the knees in toward the chest, finding your way to a fetal position whenever you're ready. And resting your head on your upper arm. Pausing a moment here. And then Leaving the eyes gently closed for now, you can start to make your way up to your seat. We'll meet with our hands at heart center when you arrive. And just taking this moment to deeply thank yourself for your practice today and for every time you roll out your mat, for your dedication to this practice. May this continue to heal you throughout the rest of your evening into a wonderful night's sleep. And may you bring some of this love and light into everything that you do and to everyone that you see. Namaste.